Good evening to all of you. Thank you for joining us here on 13 Plus. I'm Mary Coleman, joined by 13 First Alert meteorologist Corey Coates. Before we jump into our story for this evening, we want to give you an update on what is going on weather-wise. Yesterday was warm. It was beautiful today. We felt some things changing. So what's on the way, Corey?
Huge change. I mean, we're nearly 90 degrees yesterday.
Yeah.
A lot cooler. Let's just say that. I don't need to be the one to tell you that. It was cooler. It was windy. Certainly a change. Well, let's see why. Well, it's because of the storm to our north that dragged down that cooler air from the north, as well as really compressing those contours. See those white lines, those contours? Those are basically lines of equal pressure. The tighter packed they are, the stronger the wind. So you could see how it's really crunched those together, producing some pretty strong winds here across the southwest, especially in New Mexico. But we certainly did have some strong winds of our own today. We saw 28-mile-per-hour gusts in Tucson, but the real strong winds were out east, 46-mile-per-hour gust in Sierra Vista and Saffron. How about a 66-mile-per-hour gust in the mountain town of Springerville up to the north and east? But right now, winds are pretty calm and will continue to calm down here over the next couple of hours through those evening hours, really becoming a non-factor. Maybe a little breezy style at east, but overall not too bad. We are certainly riding the weather roller coaster because we just touched on yesterday, but let's go to Friday. It was 56, and then you went to yesterday, 89, a 33-degree jump in high temperatures in just 3 days. And then today, all I got up to was 66 this afternoon. That is a 23-degree drop in just a matter of 1 day. But we're going to kind of stabilize, or at least stay in one direction, and that is getting warmer consistently instead of bouncing around here. 71 tomorrow in the low 70s, and then get to the 80s Thursday and never look back, as we could be, wow, look at that, 90s, maybe the first 90-degree day of the year on Tuesday, which, you know, what follows the 90s, you know, we didn't need to talk about all that nonsense, but yeah, cool right now because of that low to our north, and then we got that high pressure. That'll move in eventually by Thursday, keeping us warm, and then we got some weaker Ys that come in, keeping those temps above average and on the warmer side, but could be downright hot. You saw that with the 90s, a little bit on the toasty side. Again, we get to Tuesday because a pretty strong high pressure is going to move in. It won't be just Tucson feeling that warm up. Look at this region-wide. Temperatures getting close to 90 in Safford by early next week, as well as in Nogales, but Ajo at 92. And how about Phoenix? I'm sure they, a little PTSD from the summer that they have. 97 on Tuesday, getting a little too close to that triple-digit mark. It's eventually going to happen, guys. I hate to break it to you. 90s to 100s. Let's go 6 to 10 day temp outlook, which is next work week, which is when we see that warm-up. 6th layer above average, while keeping in mind the average in Tucson during that time is upper 70s. With that much confidence, that's telling me it's going to be well above average. That's telling me, 90 plus is certainly well within reason and something you should certainly expect. So let's check out the first 90-degree day stats. The normal, at least since 1991, is the first one being March 30th, so we're certainly getting close to that. Last year, though, it was pretty late, April 11th. The earliest, though, at least this didn't happen, 90 degrees on February 14th. That would have been a little scary. Would have been like, oh, let's do that in February.
Valentine's Day chocolate melted.
Well, that too. That's absolutely a tragedy, especially the dark chocolate. Dark chocolate's very, very good. All right. Well, let's look at climatologically speaking. We are starting to warm up, right? Average high right now in the mid-70s, but by the time we get to April, in the 80s, by May in the 90s, and by June, you average 100 degrees, the triple digits we all know and love. But it cooled down today a lot in terms of that 3 o'clock around that high temperature today. Here's how much it was cooler compared to yesterday. 19 degrees cooler in Tucson, 20 degrees cooler in Sierra Vista. High temperatures, at least in the afternoon here, 66 was the high. It's all got up to in Tucson, 60 in Wilcox, 60 in Sierra Vista. You did get to the 70s out to the north and west, 73 in Phoenix. Right now, though, a little chillier, a lot of 60s, a lot of 50s, 61 in Tucson, 51 in Douglas, little 40-degree action, too. You got 49 in Wilcox as well as in Bisbee. Morning lows tonight will get down to 40, so a pretty chilly morning. Down to 25 in Wilcox tomorrow morning, 28 in Douglas, and 36 in Nogales. Luckily, though, a touch warmer tomorrow. It should be a nice day, up to 71 in Tucson. And a lot of 60s elsewhere, 68 Safford, 68 Douglas, and 65 in Sierra Vista. All right, let's get to that 13 First Alert 7-day forecast. We are slowly but surely warming up as we enter a warmer and drier pattern here in spring and later into March.
All right, noted. Thank you, Corey. Layers, as usual. Well, guys, if you're joining us for this evening's story, we'll get right to it. Kids relying on their parents to guide them as they grow up. For military families who lost a loved one, that's not always a possibility. Our National Investigative Team shows us a new program to give kids from military families mentors to help guide them through their formative years.
If you think back to your teen years, there are probably a few life lessons that stand out.
For instance, learning how to shake someone's hand, how to drive, or for the guys out there, the first time your dad showed you how to shave. Some consider it the moment a boy starts to become a man.
And as reporter Heather Graff found out, there's a growing effort underway to ensure the sons of our nation's fallen military heroes have someone to teach them.
For a man who's been doing it his whole life, the act of shaving might seem mundane. But think back to when you were just a kid.
Today will be the first time that I've ever shaved.
And imagine your dad isn't here to guide you through it.
My father was an E4 in the Navy. He served for about 4 years, died February 9th, 2019, and I was about 9 years old.
Ben Sullivan is now 14, and his mom Anita says the rites of passage, typically shared between father and son, have been difficult for both Ben and his brother.
It's been a big part of our grief and healing journey, is figuring out as a mom to boys who are going through the teenage years how to manage that and help them through it.
Enter the Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors, known as TAPS, a nonprofit that works to support bereaved military families across the country.
We always look for the moments to give back. You know, how can we help? What do people need? Meeting them where they are is so important.
TAPS Vice President Diana Hosford says it was a few years ago when the organization first heard this concern.
What started with one kid who just didn't have his dad to teach him, who said, I need to learn how to shave.
And since then,
the most important thing is hydration.
with the help of volunteers like John Jarecki,
There you go, just rub it on your face. There you go.
they've built a nationwide network of mentors who can step in to help these young men,
Nice and easy, and you're just going straight down.
boosting their skills and their spirits with each stroke of the razor.
Perfect, that's perfect.
I thought it was very cool because a lot of children just don't have that experience to do it with their dad.
Look at me. You're doing great, man.
Thank you.
As he works with Ben, John chooses his words carefully.
I'm having this kind of quiet conversation with his father. And like, okay, what would you say to him next?
Because he knows firsthand how much it means.
My father was Captain John Jarecki Jr. He was an F-4 pilot, went to the Air Force Academy, graduated in '72. His F-4 went down in a training accident January 14th, 1981.
And you were how old?
I was 5 years old.
Growing up without his own dad, John remembers the grief felt in those milestone moments of adolescence.
I was too embarrassed to ask anybody how to tie a tie or how to shave or how to shake someone's hand.
So when you were a kid, how did you learn how to shave?
Trial and error. It was a painful process. It is a classic secondary loss, yes.
And so, TAPS and its team now hold these learn to shave lessons as often as needed for the sons of our fallen military heroes.
Go like this.
Sometimes in group setting,
I mean, 1, 2, 3 taps. Taps.
and sometimes one-on-one,
Pretty smooth, honestly.
but never alone,
It feels nice.
never again.
Having been through it like these kids, this is my responsibility to make sure that I'm there for them. They just miss their dad.
I think one of the most important things that the mentor said was they just miss their dad. So it's just coming together and talking things out and learning those extra life lessons.
It broke my heart when he said that at the end, yet seeing them be there for those kids and see so many in that room learning how to do things that you really just take advantage of, all the things that like your dad or your parents taught you.
Yeah, it's a wonderful program.
It is.
The Learn to Shave program is just one of many ways that TAPS and its mentors aim to be there for military families and children.
Yeah, to learn more or get involved, check out their website at taps.org.